And then she'll ask me, do I look alright? And I said, no, biatch, you look horrible tonight. TW Wrestling Talk here, part 2 of this edition of TW Wrestling Talk last week before Royal Rumble. Yeah, I mean, what you just heard there obviously was, an example of The Rock. His Rock concert last week on Raw. And following that, you heard Michael. You heard true laughter from Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler. That pure, true laughter. Not the fake laughter that that it kind of seems obvious when they give you throughout various parts of Raw at times. And why I bring that up is because of the closing segment of this edition of Monday Night Raw this past week. This time headed by John Cena. Earlier in the night they said that on multiple occasions it's clearly they said John Cena addresses the WWE universe. And I'm thinking, well, what's that supposed to mean? Because normally when someone addresses the WWE universe, it's supposed to be something serious, or something along those lines. Like Vince McMahon addresses the WWE universe, the state of the general manager situation or whatnot, or when someone addresses the WWE universe, it's supposed to be like kind of a serious kind of thing. That at least that's what I get from that. Instead, what we had, and I even said this ahead of time. I said John Cena is going to address the WWE universe. That probably means he's just going to come out, and it's probably just fancy wording for him. Just coming out again, doing his same old jokes, and that aren't really that funny. And giving us this kind of humor where it feels like he's trying to put a square peg in a circular hole. And when he later on, that's what ended up happening. More than I even thought he would, though. The majority of his promo, he got on this rant about Sunday is normally supposed to be a day of relaxation and whatnot. Now, the majority of the time he spent here ranting on, he points out this supposed 10-year-old in the crowd and makes a reference to him holding John Cena's progress up in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or something. Which, by the way, is to this, the past several years, perhaps the most overrated gaming series out there. I know I might take some hate for that for you Call of Duty players out there, but I think there's a little connection there. I mean, you kind of get the same thing. I think in each game, it's just titled differently. Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare this, but to me, it doesn't matter what the title is. They're pretty much all the same game. Not doesn't, except maybe maybe level changes and whatnot, maybe a couple more guns. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I'm not gonna get into this big video game discussion here, but as far as I'm concerned, they put out essentially the same game every year. They just have a different title on it To me, that's you play one of those modern Call of Duty games, you played them all. I played. I used to like Call of Duty back when it was still World War II setting. But anyways, there's like a little connection here because John Cena, it's like you get the same thing every year, and doesn't matter the circumstance. You just kind of and this tonight was no different on Raw. Um, he's making these silly, and I mean they really sounded silly. Um, references about this kid holding him up in Call of Duty or whatever his progress. I don't know what I don't really care to go back and listen again. He makes a reference to this lady in the front row in the crowd, on one of the other along the other side of the barricade, um, about about innuendo yoga positions. I'm thinking, come on, man, this is bogus. He like he's making these like again. I go back. John Cena addresses the WWE universe. More, I didn't know that was going to entail John Cena makes Call of Duty references to this 10-year-old kid, or John Cena, addresses this woman on on innuendo and yoga positions and whatnot. I mean, please, there's no room for this on Monday Night Raw. It's not again the the clear thing with John Cena and his sense of humor, if that's what you want to call it, is that every time it's like he's trying way too hard. They're having him try way too hard to take a square peg and try to put it in a round hole. And in the end, it doesn't leave me laughing. It leads me, raising an eyebrow and wondering what the heck's going on here. And on top of that, it gives me thoughts of crickets. Um, that's exactly what it gives me thoughts of. That cricket sound effects just kind of comes into play in my, to me. Whereas The Rock, as I was talking about earlier, he, in little spurts, it's like it just, his sense of humor, it's like it's natural, like it rolls off the tongue, like it's not in the script. That's and it's not overkill. It's never overkill to me. Um, and in recent weeks he's been balancing his humor, incorporating it, as good as ever. But John Cena, on the other hand, it's as if they are trying way too hard. Um, and with the Daniel Bryan and Kane storyline and the whole anger management thing, it seems natural that they had a good graduation segment on Raw this past week. You know, better segments than this closing segment, and it's not. I'm not just criticizing Cena's work here, in this closing segment. I'm just saying it was totally off base here, and it had little to no substance whatsoever. It was more of a way to like, oh, Cena's got to make them all laugh, and you know, people got to laugh at John Cena, and maybe they'll root for him again. It came off as one of those things, one of these overly self-indulgent, um, you know, Vince Taylor kind of humor skits. That's what it came off as if Vince is back there thinking, "Come on, people, laugh at this." That's what it came down to, and it's not working. That's the bottom line. Um, now as you go through the segment, Sheamus comes out and says he's gonna win the Royal Rumble this year, and then Randy Orton comes out. Primetime players, maybe it was, I think maybe the primetime players might have came out before Randy, but anyhow, at this point, then you kind of know where this segment's going. You know, it's going to be another one of those segments where everyone keeps coming out saying they're going to win the Royal Rumble. They're all going to walk into the ring, and then they're all going to start battling each other. It's kind of a sense of been there, done that. Um, a segment that wasn't worthy of closing Raw. Um, at least on a level of how good it is, how good it wasn't, I should say. Um, but you know, it, considering that it was supposed to end with this big brawl. It's one of those segments where they got to go off the air that way. So I guess they had no other place for that, unfortunately. But it was what it was, and what it was not a very good segment. To close Raw, heading into the Royal Rumble. But they could obviously it's not as important as who wins the Royal Rumble, and essentially who will go on to main event WrestleMania and possibly become WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot riding here because you could really build someone new. This could definitely be a great big stepping stone for someone. Last year it was good for Sheamus, certainly. The year before that it was quite a waste on Alberto Del Rio. But last year, good stepping stone for Sheamus, led to a pretty decent World Heavyweight Championship reign, at least in terms of 6 month length. So I'm expecting another good stepping stone for someone, maybe like Ryback or um, one of these newer guys, not newer, but someone who could get that good main event push here, take the ball and run with it. So I'm hoping WWE is going to do that. And we will TW Wrestling Talk here. We'll hopefully try to cover that later a little later before the Royal Rumble, and have a kind of a sort of a predictions / discussion video or segment of TW Wrestling Talk to discuss that. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching. Tune in to TW Wrestling Talk as always.